Ah, the great outdoors. What was that?
Nick?
I love nature.
Hello my children, your father has brought you a swatching video. Holo Taco just released their camping collection consisting of 6 polishes in various formulas and a new topper. Today I'm going to show off the new collection, compare them to things in my collection, swatch them over black, and show off some of the extra new goodies from Holo Taco. But before we start, I want to apologize that this video is not out at launch because it's currently Thursday, the polish came in yesterday evening, and it comes out tomorrow morning. I don't have time for that.
Honey Badger don't care.
I mean, I do care. The problem is that Honey Badger does care, but Honey Badger does not have the time to do it. Normally I have about a week to make videos like this from brands this size, but there were some delays with sending the polish out. I typically put it on when it comes in and give myself a day or two to wear it and really formulate my opinions before I pick my comparisons, write a script, and film everything, let alone the editing of all of this. So while I'm going to try to fully formulate my thoughts on this collection, I do want to give a quick disclaimer that some of this might just be slightly toasted marshmallows instead of fully baked s'mores. But enough yapping, let's gather around the campfire and get into these swatches. However, before we start with the polishes, Holo Taco also just released their new sticky base coat. According to Holo Taco, this was designed to extend the wear time of nail polish by drying down slightly tacky to help anchor the polish to the nail. While this is not part of the camping collection, it launches at the same time and was sent to me with this collection. Now, I'm very intrigued by this because we do already have long-lasting base coat. If I had the time, I'd love to compare the two of them, but since this video is coming out before I've even worn this long enough to develop a chip, that's gonna have to wait. Wow, I'm glad that I'm boring you this early in the video. Let me know if y'all are interested in seeing some kind of video comparing base coats in the future. As for the application, it applied as expected for a base coat and had very even coverage. The orange tint of the base coat I assume is solely to have a visual indicator of the different Holo Taco base coats, as the orange is not visible on the nail. When it dried, it was actually tacky and seemed to make the nail feel rougher, which I'm assuming helps the nail polish stick by increasing surface area or something along that vein. Look, I teach physics, not chemistry. First up, we have Feeling Sparks. This is described as a magnetic polish with a deep red base, orange-red iridescent flakes, and a golden copper magnetic pull. When applying, the first coat had pretty even coverage, meaning it might have some potential as a topper, as that golden shimmer is amazing. Now, for the 2 magnetic polishes, I'm going to paint 2 coats unmagnetized and then magnetize the third and the top coat. For this one, I really liked how it looked unmagnetized, as the golden shimmer pulls a little orange due to the deep red base, while the flakes are less prominent. And it is like a special little surprise when the flakes show beneath the shimmer. But overall, it just looks like this warm metallic maroon bronze that I'm a big fan of. When the magnet is applied, the golden shimmer pulls inwards, leaving behind the warm iridescent flakes in a deep, almost wine red base. And what I found the most interesting about this magnetized is that the base color looks almost black near the magnetic stripe and more red further away. This makes an extra gradient where the gold cat eye stands out more and helps the flakes take on a larger role. As for comparisons, nothing matches the magnetic effect exactly, so I compared it to some orangey browns in my collection. I think vibe-wise the closest is Mooncat's Nocturne, as it is also a warm magnetic with flakies, but it's missing the shimmer. The biggest difference, however, is nothing has that golden shine that Feeling Sparks has. Now, while I love being able to get review videos out for launch, as I want to help inform people's decisions prior to purchasing, one of the benefits of doing it late is that I can provide comparisons that I see in Holo Taco's comments section. And one that I saw for this that I didn't initially think of is Tax Haven from the first Vacation collection, and they are actually quite similar when unmagnetized. They both have a similar brown maroon color, but because of the golden magnetic pigment, Feeling Sparks is brighter and more orange leaning, while Tax Haven flashes red. Now we're starting off really strong because I really like this one. There's all of these elements that have different times in the spotlight, leading to just so much visual interest regardless of which way you choose to wear this. And that's a huge plus for me because I'm too lazy for magnetics usually. Plus, I also want to compliment Holo Taco how they paired multiple warm elements together in a way that was visually interesting and not redundant. So all that to say, I like it. I love this drink. That didn't work.
Stop drinking all my water.
Also, before our first rating, I would personally never go camping because that's where the bugs are. And I also wouldn't even go glamping because I need Wi-Fi. So I really struggled to come up with positive camping things for my rating scales. So this gets 4.5 perfectly toasted marshmallows out of 5. That's like the only positive camping thing I can think of, sorry. Moving on, we have Off the Grid. This is described as a magnetic polish with an indigo blue base, cyan shimmer, and an amber mauve magnetic pull. On the first coat, this had a slightly patchier application, but this was fixed with the second. Unmagnetized, this is a touch all over the place, but I think in a good way. It looks like a warmer version of some kind of Franken polish, as there's just a lot happening at once. In this, I can see a deep burgundy base color with a red flash and occasional blue sparkles. When magnetized, this one transforms entirely as the red is pulled inwards, leaving the deep blue, almost black base behind. And this is when the blue shimmers show better and look more intentional. I also think that the red aspect becomes a more saturated red when condensed into the cat eye stripe. Now, unmagnetized, I first thought of the Bridge by Apocalypse polish, as that is a red and blue glitter bomb which matches the vibe of the two competing color elements in Off the Grid. However, the Bridge is too bright and too glittery. I did see some comments suggesting Holo Taco's Existential Crisis is similar, and I would somewhat agree. Existential Crisis has a similar rusty purple tone and a blue base, but the texture is entirely different and it flashes golden while Off the Grid flashes red. Additionally, Off the Grid reminded me of Cool Cat Mom solely because it is a cool base with a warm magnetic pigment, but that's about where the similarities end, as they are entirely different colors. And once again, I like this one. I love the play of the warm and the cool elements in this. They create this cacophonous mixture when unmagnetized, but this beautiful night sky aurora look with the magnet. It's just super neat. So this gets 4.5 dead cell phone batteries out of 5.
But that's somehow a good thing.
I told you I couldn't come up with positive things. Like, what's a positive thing that involves Off the Grid? Renewable energy and not global climate change and catastrophe. I was trying to match them to the theme of the name. So Off the Grid. Okay, well, you're off the grid, so your cell phone dies. Most of you are probably watching this on your cell phone, and the other most of you are watching this on your TV right now. I see the analytics. And that like 0.5% of people that put on the subtitles, sorry, I would enunciate better if I could. Speaking is hard. And next up is Nature Calls. Oh, well, speaking of. This is described as a dark muted navy jelly polish with a pale yellow pink iridescent shimmer and blue-green iridescent flakes. Thank God I'm reading these. I would never have been able to memorize that. And let me tell you, when I read the word jelly, I panicked a little bit because all I want is full coverage. But I am happy to report that this got to full coverage in 2 coats. Well, I did have to go back into the bottle mid-coat, so maybe 2.3 coats. As for the color description, I never really saw the pink aspect of the shimmer on the nail, but it is a little more noticeable in the bottle. However, it doesn't take over the color for me like a certain other Precious Polish.
Precious Polish Nicole.
Precious Polish Nicole? No one is gonna get that. Please watch Drag Race Philippines. It's so good. Additionally, the flakes are a nice touch as they are on the smaller side, leading to a more uniform final product, which is why I think it got to full opacity in 2 coats despite being labeled as a jelly. As for comparisons, honestly, the first thing I thought of was, hey, this looks a lot like a deeper version of Wanderlust. And I think I still stand by that, as they have very similar textures and colors. The biggest difference is that Nature Calls is darker and the shift is more gold dominant, while Wanderlust's shifts is more green leaning. Wanderlust's. It did also make me think of Silent Library, as that has a similar yet darker color and similar texture, except instead of the iridescent stuff in Nature Calls, it's metallic stuff. So I f***ing love this one. Why are you laughing at me? Oh wait, I don't want to swear because of the children that watch. So I really like this one.
The deep navy base.
The deep, oh, I'm reading. The deep navy base, killer. The gold shimmer, stunning. 2 coats to full opacity, give me more. So she gets 5 outhouses out of 5. And buzzing right along, next we have Stop Buggin. This is described as a bright green metallic polish with smooth, shiny microflakes. I found that it was quite patchy on the first coat, but it was fixed with the second. However, while it looked decent on camera, the sides of the nail were still patchy, so I painted this in 3 coats. I really like how glowy green the overall color is, and paired with the metallic tone, it almost looks like there is some kind of green shimmer in it. There isn't, but that just goes to show that metallic polish is stunning. As for the color, bright green is right, however, it is a slightly cooler green as it looks like it could have a touch of teal in it. Which is why I first put it next to teal with it, which is a teal in the same formula. While they are not dupes, I think it is a good successor if you missed out on the David's Tea collab. I did also want to put it next to other greens to show how teal leaning it is in comparison to the greens. The closest is foiled again because it is also a green metallic, but it is a warmer green. I feel like Stop Buggin is really a transition shade between green and teal while still being distinctly green, kind of. This one was really hard to video. Now on the nail, it definitely looks more green than teal. I don't know if you could tell.
Teal.
Oh, you were making a joke.
Yes.
That was funny.
It's not my best joke.
Your best joke is, sharts.
My life.
Same thing. Now on the nail, it definitely looks more green than teal. However, I think it might be a little too bright in comparison to the other colors in this collection. I would have preferred this to be a slightly darker, maybe forest green color, but we do already have Ivy League in the last fall-ish collection from Holo Taco. Hello? It's a literal, like, infant.
Yeah, that thing looks like it literally, like...
It just slipped out.
came.
I don't know why, but I associate this green with more of minty chewing gum cartons and not forest or camping. But I think that's really just more of a me problem and probably isn't something that the rest of the general public will feel. Regardless, this is still one of my favorite formulas from Holo Taco, so it's gonna get 4 mosquito bites out of 5. Because that's what you get when you go outside. And the last shimmery shade is Boom Toasted. This is described as a pale gold crystal jelly with green, gold, orange, iridescent shimmer, and scattered hollow glitter. On the first coat, it was very sheer, which worried me, especially because when I read that it was a crystal jelly, I panicked a little. The first Holo Taco crystal jelly is Wanderlust, which never reached full opacity for me, but this got to full opacity in 2 coats. I think this is because the shimmer is really packed in there, which hides the visible nail line really well head on. It does have a touch of visible nail line at extreme angles, but only in very specific lighting, which is why I called it good enough in 2. As for the color, when it's shining, it really lives in the gold and slight orange direction, as it only ever looked green at very extreme angles in dimmer lighting. However, sometimes at extreme angles, the shimmer vanishes entirely and leaves this straw color behind that kinda looks like a super yellow witchy nail. Regardless, I still love her. Now, I've been fighting with my camera during this video as I want to make sure that I'm showing the polish as true to life as possible. Additionally, I forgot to add the little star denoting the new polish, which has also been fighting for its life each time I transfer it to a new swatch stick. As for the actual comparisons, the closest is Prism Parade's Stay Gold, as it is also a sandy gold shimmery polish. The biggest difference is that Boom Toasted has that extra shimmer that does give it a slight greener tone and an extra shine. The others are all different tones of yellow and are nowhere near dupes. Now, if you've been watching this channel for some time, you probably know that I love gold, so I really like this polish. I think it really does a great job at mimicking that golden glow of the campfire or maybe fireflies at night. Plus, it just makes me so happy that I can get it to full coverage because usually shimmery polishes like this really struggle with opacity. So I'm gonna give this 5 marshmallows that get a little too toasty that they drip off directly into the flame out of 5. Oh, I could have said fireflies here. And our last full coverage shade is Feral Forest. I can't read this without thinking Feral Faucet. Like, best drag name that I've ever come up with ever. Feral, but like rawr, and faucet as in like drip.
Well, it's not funny when you have to explain it.
Well, no, because it's a pun, and puns are usually words that are written that can often be pronounced the exact same.
You used Feral Faucet in a previous.
Did I?
Yeah.
What was the new one that we came up with?
The last this or that we wrote down was Salvador Dali Pardon.
Salvador Dali Parton. That's so good. Oh, and our last full coverage shade is Feral Forest. This is described as a black and cool forest green, semi-translucent buildable Crelly. And this one confused me a little bit as it didn't really feel like a Crelly to me. It had incredibly great coverage and almost looked like full coverage on the first coat, which I thought wouldn't be possible for something in between a creme and a jelly. It's possible that my nails are too short or I applied a very thick coat, but I painted 2 coats regardless. As for the color, it is a very, very cool green that almost leans teal. Hence why I wanted to put it next to Holo Taco's deep teal, Bring Me the Teal. To me, this really looks like a transition shade between Bring Me the Teal and Headhunter. However, I'd still describe it more of a dark teal than a dark green. I did also want to put it next to Starry Eyed, as they looked like very similar colors to me. I think it was very clever of Holo Taco to use Starry Eyed to tease this collection, as that feels like a combo of this and the last polish. Now, this is my least favorite polish of the full coverage formulas in this collection. Not because of the base color, but it just kind of confused me as why was this acrylic when I got it to full coverage in one-ish coats? Which is unlike Holo Taco's last Crelly in their anniversary collection, which still had visible nail line after 3 coats. So I just question, why is this a Crelly and not a creme? But that also brings up, why has Holo Taco been in this Crelly mood recently? Is this a trend that I'm not aware of, or is this just a crazy random happenstance? Regardless, I think I'm gonna give this 3 Bigfoot struggling to purchase new footwear at Payless out of 5. And before we move on to the topper, I wanted to show the whole collection all together. I'm a huge fan of this color story, as we are finally getting back to a darker and moodier color palette from Holo Taco, while also having flashy and exciting shades. I was worried that the typical pinks, blues, and purples were going to get shoehorned into this theme like we've seen in previous launches. I was particularly worried that we were going to get yet another pink in this collection that would feel out of place. I do want to make this clear, I may joke that I am a certified pink polish hater, but that is not because of societal connotations associated with the color or the color itself. It's really because I'm honestly getting pretty tired of seeing pinks being released in practically every collection from the larger brands, which I perceive as being included because pink polish sells well as opposed to it fitting within the overall color palette or the theme. But beyond that, it's also one of the most represented colors in the mainstream drugstore or nail polish community at large, and I'm just kind of bored with it. Which is why I really love this color palette, because it all feels interesting, different, and experimental, especially with those magnetics. However, I was a little concerned that the topper was going to change how I perceived the vibe of this collection. So let's stall a little longer and paint these polishes over black. I found that most of them had very even coverage, meaning that most looked really great as a topper. Feeling Sparks Magnetized is like a gold magnetic topper of my dreams, as the red base is entirely gone, leaving the flakes and golden magnetic pigment behind. Off the Grid, however, wasn't substantially different from how it looked magnetized. Nature Calls and Boom Toasted performed as expected, really highlighting the shimmer pigment, with Boom Toasted turning more green, almost mimicking Don't Bother Me. The only 2 that I would not recommend as toppers are Stop Buggin', because it was not that even on the first coat, and Feral Forest, as it pretty much is full coverage on that first swipe. Okay, I'm out of stuff to stall with. Last up is Shooting Star Taco. This is described as a silver holographic topper with star-shaped glitters and silver scattered hollow. Now, my biggest problem with large particle toppers is that they never seem to work as well as I want them to. When I take some out of the bottle, I rarely had even 1 star glitter on the brush. And this is even after storing it upside down to help the glitters sink to where the brush is.
1.
And I tested this several times to see if this was user error or not. Regardless, I painted this over each color in the collection to show how it looked paired to what it was released with. I tried to get the covered in stars look that is advertised, but that required fishing for the glitters in the bottle or dabbing the polish off to manually place the stars on the nail. But even after all of this effort, I still managed an average of 2 stars per nail. So if I were to use this again, I'd probably just ditch the brush entirely and place the glitters directly on the nail using a toothpick. As for comparisons, this is Holo Taco's second large thing glitter topper, the first being Garden Party Taco. My favorite. Now, beyond me being a pink polish hater, I do like this more because it is more versatile since it is a hollow polish as opposed to a specific color like the pink reflective in Garden Party Taco. Now, while painting, Garden Party Taco actually performed better as I got 4 flowers when swatching as opposed to only 2 stars using Shooting Star Taco. But this could be because the flower glitters are more neutrally buoyant in the polish as they live more dispersed as opposed to the stars who sink to the bottom relatively quickly. vertically, hence why people suggested to store polishes like these upside down. I did also want to note that the hollow glitters in Shooting Star seem to be more dense than the reflective glitters in Garden Party Taco. Also, I did get a white flake topper with the white star glitters from KB Shimmer while at PBE that I wanted to test as well. Should I explain what PBE is?
No.
We'll just put a thingy that says, watch our PBE vlog? Okay. And maybe I'm being too mean to Shooting Star Taco, as this one also struggled to get a star on the nail as it stayed firmly planted in the brush. One last thing is that I think these may be the same star glitters that are in Starry Eyed, as they look very similar and also live in relatively the same place within the bottle. Which wouldn't surprise me, as I also have the same issue with Starry Eyed as I do with Shooting Star Taco. So maybe stars are just not meant to be toppers, as they really just want to live within the bottle and not come visit the nail. That said, I do remember in the Sophia collab that there was some talk about a bat glitter topper, but the bat glitters also didn't suspend nicely within the bottle, which is why it was ultimately replaced with the included bat glitter baggie. So while I'm ultimately incredibly thrilled to be getting another topper from Holo Taco, I wonder if loose star glitters would have been a better idea, as effectively I needed to place them manually anyways. And I know I'm being a negative Nancy here, but another problem that I have just in general with big stuff toppers is that they don't lie flat on the nail. I found them to be raised on the nail even after a thick top coat. The husband who hates textured nails tried 2 thick top coats and you can still clearly feel the star shapes on the nail. So unfortunately for me, this polish only gets 1, they're not shooting stars, they are asteroids that are just getting hot due to air friction as they fall deeper and deeper into Earth's gravitational well, out of 5. And here is the whole collection all together with the topper. I think another problem I have with large particle toppers is that to me, there's no way to do it without it looking very Claire's 2008 coded. So while it's perfectly themed for this collection, I think large particle glitters are really just not for me. And I'm not here to ick your yum, because if you love this, I love that for you. They're just not for me. And now it's time for my serious talk with the children. One thing that I wanted to bring up is that I've seen many comments throughout the year that Holo Taco launches are too frequent. We looked back and Holo Taco has had a launch every single month since 2023, with the exception of 3 months in 2024 and once so far this year. And candidly speaking, I didn't really think that we were going to get a Holo Taco launch until the end of August or maybe early September to mirror the timing of the Dark Academia launch last year. I fear that with the price increase and this frequency of launches, it's going to alienate those die-hard Holo Taco customers that were purchasing every collection as a collector, which was me up until I started getting these as PR. And if I wasn't making these review videos, by now I'd be more selective with what I purchase from Holo Taco throughout the year, meaning I wouldn't be getting full collections for the sake of collecting them, which is a reality for a lot of people in the nail polish community because this is a pretty expensive hobby that is just getting more expensive. So I want to remind everyone that there is no such thing as a truly unique nail polish that you have to have. I will say at least most launches from Holo Taco this year didn't have collection boxes, which I think does help fight the FOMO. And while the polishes in this collection are not limited edition, the S'more Scented Nail Oil Pen is, which I actually like despite not normally liking sweet scents. That said, I wouldn't have purchased the collection right away just to get the limited edition nail oil. I've also seen some comments expressing frustration about this, especially from international customers. So all's to say, I really like this collection, but I could have waited a couple more weeks for it. Although, full transparency, I am really glad that this released at a different time from my upcoming collab collection. Which, speaking of, it's time for the WOMO. When I say whoa, you say mo. Whoa.
Mo.
Whoa.
Mo.
On my other hand, I'm wearing one of the shades I designed for my upcoming collab with Tyler's Trinkets, the Golden Hour Rodeo. On every finger except my pinky is Ghost Town. This is a warm white crelly with gold microflakes, a gold shimmer, and some silver reflective glitters. And I know you might be typing in the comments right now, but he hates crellies, why would he make a crelly? But I get this crelly to full opacity and 3 coats. Next thing you know, he's gonna release a pink. I am so excited to share more of these polishes in the coming weeks, but also share more about what the creative process has looked like because Ghost Town has a story. So now that you've seen everything, let me know what you think of this collection. Do you want some more of these shades, or would you tell them to take a hike? As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.
It's getting intense in here.
You didn't say that the right way for it to be the pun.
It's getting tense in here.
Much better.
Goodbye.